Now we'll start another series of classes, and in particularly on world religion. So, as we found, there are number of religions in the world, among which in particularly Buddhism, Jainism, Judaism, Confucianism, Taoism, Shintoism, Zoroastrianism, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, are those religions. Besides that, there are number of tribal religions we found in every continent of the world, whether it is Asia or Latin America or Africa. Everywhere we found such tribal religions also. But among the major religions that we stressed, one is Buddhism and the second one is Confucianism. Then the third one is Hinduism. The fourth one is Christianity, then Islam. These are the major religions in the world. So, among the major religions, first we will discuss about Buddhism, which developed in 6th century before Christ, and among the Shakyas, it was developed by Gautama Buddha, and the very philosophy of Buddhism as concentrated in Nirvana, and the very different forms of Buddhism as Hinayana, Mahayana, then the place of birth of Gautama Buddha, then the importance of Buddha, then the importance of Kushinagar. So, Buddhism was founded by Gautama Buddha, who lived in the 6th century BC. Gautama, otherwise known as Siddhartha, was the son of an Indian prince, Suddhodana, chief of the Shakya clan. Even as a child, he was given to contemplation. The sorrows and sufferings of the world tormented his loving heart, and he abandoned his princely home, his wife and child, and started in pursuit of enlightenment at the age of 29. After years of wandering and contemplation, Gautama at last found enlightenment while meditating under a great peepal tree. From that day he came to be known as the Buddha, or the Enlightened One. The Buddha praised that emancipation from the cycle of rebirth is nirvana, can be attained by a path of self-purification. He attaches little importance to rituals and ceremonies in which the Brahmin priest indulged. He does not appear to have even envisaged the existence of Supreme God. He preached in the vernacular of the people a simple doctrine of love and mercy which appealed to all. Buddhism is essentially a religion of kindness, humanity, and equality. It denounces all claims of superiority on grounds of birth or caste. The eminence of lowliness of man is determined by their own conduct and actions. 2 or 3 centuries after the death of Buddha, we find the Buddhist religion divided into 2 broad schools, such as the Hinayana and the Mahayana. The Hinayana school prided itself on maintaining the teachings of the Buddha in their original form. The Mahayana school converted the human Buddha, Shakya, Muni into an eternal and supreme deity, presiding over the world and succoring his devotees. Mahayana Buddhism is prevalent at present in China, Tibet, Korea, and Mongolia. Hinayana Buddhism is prevalent at present in Burma, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, or the modern Cambodia and Vietnam. The most sacred places of Buddhism are Lumbini in Nepal, where Buddha was born, the Buddhavaya, at present in Bihar in India, where he received enlightenment, and Kushinagar in Uttar Pradesh, where he attained Nirvana. So now we'll go to the second most important religion, and that is that we would like to discuss here as a major religion, and that is Confucianism, which developed in 6th century BC by Kung Fu Su, and the analects show what exactly Confucianism, as better known, his name was Kung Fu Su, was born in 551 BC in China. Even as a young man, he had an adherent thirst for knowledge. When still in his youth, he met and talked with Lao Tzu, who was then a famous figure. Struggling through poverty, Confucius first became a minor civil servant and later rose to the magistrate of a state. His brilliant administration evoked the jealousy of others, who conspired to bring about his dismissal in 496 BC. Thereafter he wandered about penniless and homeless until in 478 BC he died aged 73. After his death his sayings were collected in the Analects, and he was honored throughout China as a deity, ranking with the deities of heaven and earth. Confucius was a moralist rather than the founder of a religion. He conserved, systematized, and taught the age-old teachings of China. He advocated regularity in life, temperance in food and drink, and emphasized the importance of learning, loyalty, and truthfulness. He formulated a golden rule of reciprocity. What you don't want done to yourself, don't do to others. Just a step short of the Laotian and the Christian doctrine of returning good for evil. Peking, or at present Beijing, is the city scared to the adherents of both Taoism and Confucianism. And now we'll discuss another major religion in the world is Hinduism, which was traced to 3000 years before Christ, in particularly in the works of Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharva Veda, the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, Upanishads, 8 in Puranas, then those epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata. So, the word Hindu originally was the Persian rendering of the Indian word Sindhu, the Sanskrit name of the river Indus. The Persian name Hindu must have come into being in the 6th century BC when the territory round Indus on part of the Persian Empire, but the name disappeared from India with the exit of the Persians. It came back to India centuries later with the Muslim invasion from the northwest. At that time, however, the word Hindu simply meant Indian and had no religion connotation. Subsequently, under the Mughal emperors, the word assumed a religious tint, and under the British it came to be applied exclusive to the people who followed the age-old religion of India. The basis of Hinduism lies in the 4 Vedas of the Aryans. The Vedas are known as Shruti, or that which is heard or revealed. The Orthodox Hindus think that the Vedas are Anadi, without a beginning. Others believe that the Vedas were revealed to ancient rishis or sages. So we'll go to the first Veda, that is the Rig Veda, is the earliest and the most important of the 4 Vedas. It is the older scripture in the world, having been composed in the 3rd millennium before Christ. It consists of over 1,000 hymns, a heterogeneous collection of prayers to God like Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Indra, Maitra, Soma, and others. Instructions on rituals, incarnations, songs, and verses on nature. The other 3 Vedas are more specialized, while the Yajurveda deals mainly with sacrificial invocations. The Samveda contains melodic invocations, and the Atharva Veda deals with medicines and magical incantations. Each Veda is divided into mantras, brahmanas, which explain the mantras and rituals, aranyakas, music, mystic teachings, meant for meditation in forest, and Upanishads, speculations on being and reality. The early Aryan gods were depictions of natural forces such as Agni, Varuna, Soma, Surya, etc. They were worshipped with sacrifice. There was no temples or images. The sacrifices were performed on open altars where a wood fire was lighted and offerings of food and drink in the shape of meat, fat, butter, milk, cakes of value to the gods who were supposed to dwell in the sky. This was the Vedic rite of Homa, the part of Vedic religion. So, when the Aryans came to India, they counted a highly civilized people, the Dravidians, the builders of the city civilization of the Indus Valley. They defeated the Dravidians and probably usurped them, but though superior in war, the Aryans were far behind the Dravidians in culture. Before long, they succumbed to the superior culture of the pre-Aryans and adopted it. The Mainstay of popular Hinduism is later Vedic literature, which consists of the Puranas, the old stories, and Itihas, the epics. There are 8 in Puranas: Matsya, Markandeya, Bhagavata, Vaivasya, Brahma, Brahmananda, Vayu, Vishnu, etc. There are also a number of Upa-Puranas or minor Puranas. Some Puranas are believed to date back to the pre-Christian era. The Itihasas or epics are to the Ramayana by Valmiki and the Mahabharata by Vyasa. And both these great wars drew their inspiration from pre-Aryan folklore. The story of Ramayana looks like a blend of 3 distinct stories of pre-Aryan origin put together at different times and finally embellished as a national poem of epic dimension. The Mahabharata, on the other hand, embodies the legends of the Aryans and the non-Aryans and was created consciously as the non-Aryan and was created consciously as the national poem of a new Hindu nation of mixed origin welded into one under Brahma. The popular gods of the early Aryans were Indra, Varuna, Agni, Soma, Surya and others, replacing course of time to a group of more powerful and more personal gods, more profound and cosmic and more philosophical in conception, namely the Puranic gods of Hinduism, headed by Shiva, Uma and Sri Vishnu. Shiva and Uma are early pre-Aryan gods. Vishnu was partly Aryan, a form of sun god, and partly Dravidian, the blue sky god. Sri was an Aryan goddess to start with the Indian counterpart of the European Greece. The outstanding instance of the Dravidization of Aryan religion is found in preponderant place given to the puja form of worship compared to Aryan Homo. Hinduism emerged as the national religion by a brilliant synthesis of Aryan and non-Aryan ideas. This ability to adopt or adjust so alien ideas has made Hinduism a highly receptive and tolerant religion. When Buddhism rose as a challenge to orthodox Hinduism, Hinduism reacted by sanctifying the Buddha as an avatar of Vishnu. Similarly, the Jain ideas of non-violence or non-injury to living things appeal to many people as a gospel of mercy, goodwill and fellowship with all living creatures. Hinduism took over the idea and worked out it as the doctrine of Ahimsa, which was elevated as the highest of all dharmas. So, the modern Hinduism may be dated from the days of Sri Shankaracharya more than 1000 years ago. Shankara lived in the 8th century AD. He was born at Kalladi in Kerala of a Namrudi Brahmin family. His wife for the greatest of Hindu reformers before he died at the early age of 32. He travelled through India thrice, debating with scholars and expounding his theory of Advaita or monoism. He was not only a great thinker but also a great organizer. And the next one is Ramanuj, the next great reformer, lived in the 12th century AD. He was born in Tamil Nadu. He modified Shankara's philosophy of Advaita or monism and preached a new philosophy of Vyasastra, Advaita or qualified monoism. Ramanuja laid great emphasis on deliverance by way of devotion to a compassionate God, in contrast to the way of deliverance by the performance of Vedic rites. Then the third great reformer of Hinduism, Madhav, was born in 1238 near Udupi in Karnataka. A great reformer is the supreme exponent of dualism or Dvaitavad. All these great reformers stressed the importance of bhakti or devotion to a personal God. The renovation of Hinduism started by these great three reformers of the South India was continued by a number of saints and sages in the rest of India, in particularly Ramanand in Allahabad, Ballavacharya at Banaras, Namdev at Maharashtra, who unlike others came from a low caste. Mirabai of Rajasthan, a princess torn sannyasini, Eknath, Tukaram and Ramdas, all from Maharashtra, Suradas, the blind poet of Agra, Lala of Kashmir, then Sant Kabir of Varanasi and others were great reformers of Hinduism, the greatest of the bhakti leaders, reformers, and one of the greatest reformers of Hindu religion is